My friends, the great experiment.
The crew doesn't hate the XO, then he's not doing his job.
Good hunting is what you say.
It's part of the pattern, part of the plan.
Are they the lucky ones? That's what you're thinking, isn't it?
Welcome to Greatest Trek. It's a new Star Trek podcast from the makers of The Greatest Generation, except today it's hot Cylon summer. Today, and many weeks recently, has been that. I'm Adam Pranica.
I'm Ben Harrison, enjoying this hot Cylon summer.
I had out-of-town friends come over for the weekend. I know I didn't say anything on the show. I know a big deal is made whenever I mention the potential for out-of-town guests.
Well, you don't want to tell people too early, because what if they change their plans, you know?
I mean, what if I change the plan? Might not be ready.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly.
You ever need a vacation from your out-of-town friend's vacation? Really went for it, Ben.
Yeah?
I think anytime my friends come to visit me, especially my long-suffering Seattle friends, I want to show them a good time.
Right.
I want to show them the best time possible. That often includes overindulging.
Sure. I
in
mean,
the food and the drink.
You're a famous enjoyer of all of the gustatory delights that LA has to offer, and a great tour guide when it comes to those things for somebody who doesn't have ready access to them.
Friends were game. Friends are really game. We went to, speaking of game, we went to a Dodgers game.
Yeah.
First time this season I've been. It was such a fun day. A day game.
Amazing. What did you indulge in while you were there? Were you having the $35 tall boy beers, or were you going a little harder?
Beer is for breakfast round here. Drink or be gone.
I always do that thing where I read the internet article about like best thing to eat at this airport or this sports stadium.
Yeah.
And I did that before going to Dodger Stadium for the first time this year. And I shared it with my friends.
I know that they have loaded nacho French fry helmet at Dodger Stadium, which has always seemed like something that will turn into just a coagulated, disgusting ball, but before you get very far into it.
I think things served in helmets are a long tradition at most baseball games. I was blindsided by a helmet. Let me back it up a second. Let me hip you to a technology that I would be very surprised if you were unaware of this. So we went to Echo Park for a time before going to Dodger Stadium. And for those of you who don't live in LA, this is a 20-minute walk from Dodger Stadium. Nice little part of the city where you can do a lot of eating and drinking before going to a ball game or after. So my wife and I and our out-of-town friends go down there to one of our favorite Mexican restaurants with a great patio. Ben, you and I have been here.
Yeah.
Many times.
It sort of used to be my local.
Go up to the bar, and this is one of those bars that does pitcher margarita. Pitcher margarita's great. Love this idea for a patio. Patio, 4 people, pitcher margarita. But I see the patrons in front of me do this exact order with a little twist. They take this pink pitcher margarita to their table, and they also take 4 shots of Blanco tequila to the table. And I'm like, whoa, these folks are partying. And I kind of look out of the corner of my eye to see what's up. They don't take those shots, Ben. They pour those shots into the pitcher and stir it all around.
Wow.
They've upgraded their pitcher marg. And so I see that. And I'm like, I'll have what they're having. My buddy and I agree to do a little showmanship here. So we take our pitcher, our glasses, and our 4 shot glasses to the table out on the patio, set the pitcher down, set the margarita glasses down, set the shot glasses down. And into both of our hands, my friend and I hold our 2 shots of tequila. We cheers them, bring them ever so close to our faces, and then dump them in the pitcher.
Dump them out.
Big show.
Wow.
Big fun. Everyone delighted.
Fun.
Pitcher was great. And one of the many mistakes we made drinking that day before the Dodger game. A spectacular drinking day, by all accounts, from what I can remember. The lights got a little flickery, Ben, for the first time in a long time.
That's great. Yeah. I love the sound of this enhanced pitcher. And I also like the idea of an enhanced picture, which is a central theme in today's episode of Battlestar Galactica.
Wonderful. I feel like James Lipton, the host of Inside the Actors Studio, and you said something that's pretty normal for most people to say, but he is utterly delighted that a Bradley Cooper has said this is his favorite curse word.
Fotuto chuchacazzo, which means you motherfucking sucker.
Marvelous.
Wow. Doesn't get any better than that, Ben. Let's get into Hot Cylon Summer. Battlestar Galactica Season 1, Episode 7, 6 Degrees of Separation.
You can all see her.
She's standing right next to you.
We start with a very long push in on the fleet. It's really fun to see the fleet all spread out like this, all of these weird different ships.
You have a choice with how you spread out your ships, right? No one thinks to go tall.
Yeah.
We're going long with the fleet.
Well, there being no local vertical in space, you could make the case that they did go tall.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess these ships are all traveling along an axis, so we have to say they went long.
Visually, I would like to see tall at some point.
Yeah, I wonder what, like, the most strategic thing is in space, you know? I read a sci-fi book years ago, and the faster than light travel in this book is all like portals. Like, I guess Babylon 5 would be a similar idea. Like, there's a thing that opens up and you can travel through it. But the portals are only so big, so in each star system that has one, there's one portal, and all of the ships have to be super long and skinny as a result. So, you know.
So they're all like that ship from 2001.
Yeah, kind of.
They're all bone ships.
Yeah.
That's bone.
And that's sort of what they've done with the fleet, right? They've stretched it out long.
Yeah. Yeah. We punch in and into the fleet and into Audrey 2 and into Gaius Baltar's eyeball as we hear his voice. And he's working on the Cylon detector project still. This feels like the first time we've actually seen the work get done. There's microscopes and a lab and all sorts of things, but I don't feel like we've been in this lab hardly at all.
Yeah, very much so. The sense that I had was that he was kind of stringing everyone along and not doing anything.
That maybe this lab never existed?
Yeah, I was starting to really like Baltar as a character, you know? I was like, this guy's relatable.
I mean, being bored at work is certainly relatable, and that's how Gaius Baltar's feeling. He's not psyched about doing this project for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
He's bored by the work, and it also just seems very tedious work in a way that's unsatisfying.
And what he's looking at is cells, you know, and he's not seeing the hand of God in his microscope.
You know how on The Simpsons you can punch in on Homer's sperm and all the sperms have little Homer heads on them? It's not like that for the Cylon detector. Like, you don't just go into the cells and you see the little whoosh whoosh.
Yeah, the little red light going back and forth. Yeah, it's not the flying toaster's screensaver when he looks into his microscope.
Wouldn't that be great?
That would be a fun gag.
Why couldn't it be that?
Come on, Ronald D. Moore, do something fun.
How much better would work be if you could just lean back in your office chair, close your eyes, and there you are in your imaginary lake house, chilling the most. Yeah. But there's no escape for Gaius Baltar there. I mean, as tedious and exhausting as the work is, so is she, right?
Oh, she's just not going to put out until he forms a personal relationship with the Almighty.
I can't take this anymore.
I'm trying to save your immortal soul,
No, what you are doing, darling, is boring me to death with your superstitious drivel.
I mean, I personally don't know anything about converting for the future of a relationship. Ben, what's that like? I'm going to go ahead and step off mic here, so you can go with this.
Couldn't tell you, Adam. But yeah, this monotheistic robot woman has really staked their entire thing on if he will form a relationship with her god or not. And she's not even going to help him unzip anything. Much to the contrary, she is walking right out of this fantasy.
It's my fantasy. See if I care.
I mean, I'd be confused too. I thought the thing behind the zipper was what she worshipped. Not the case. Gaius couldn't be more flip about his personal beliefs and how they contradict hers. And when Six disappears, she's replaced with Duala, like in kind of a very elegant edit here. The door opens. It's not the vacation house. It's the compartment door to the lab.
When one vacation house door closes, a pressured ceiling laboratory door opens.
I love the rapidity of what happens. Because there's a moment in the vacation house where it seems clear Gaius is not going to get on board with her religion. In seconds, number 6 recognizes this and decides to do something crazy. And when Duala escorts Gaius to the CIC to see Commander Adama, there is someone who looks a lot like number 6 up there, whose name is Shelley Godfrey.
Yeah.
And she has some fairly damning accusations about Gaius Baltar that Gaius Baltar knows to be true.
She is visible to everyone here, which is something that he doesn't pick up on immediately. I mean, he should have just listened for her musical leitmotif, and when he noticed it wasn't playing, realized that this was a flesh and blood person that everybody else was experiencing also.
How much crazy would you put up with before you were like, the crazy's too much to put up with, I can't work with this guy anymore? Because there's kind of an around the horn moment here.
Yeah.
Where Ty and Adama and a few others, like, part of the craziness of this moment is that it's happening in full view of everyone here in the CIC.
Yeah. And I mean, I want to talk about this throughout the course of this episode. Like, nobody plays like it is uniquely unnerving that he walked in and immediately started hitting on this woman that's wearing like a burlap sack coat and then seemed to be alarmed when other people were also reacting to her presence.
I mean, Gaius Baltar's never been a good reader of the room.
It's true.
He always gets it wrong.
He gets accused of being a traitor right here in this moment. He, tries to be friendly with Ms. Godfrey, and she recoils at him. One of the great, zoom in on eyes to theme in sci-fi television history, I would say, happens right here.
Pretty great.
And we also get Gaius eyes from theme.
Yeah, nice bit of symmetry here.
Yeah.
Shelley Godfrey evokes the name Dr. Amarak, a name you might recall from very early on. Dr. Amarak was a person with some damning information about Gaius Baltar who unfortunately died before he could get it out. And the thing that Shelley Godfrey can provide that Dr. Amarak could not is some physical evidence in the form of an angular compact disc, and the contents on this thing are going to be pretty damning.
Dr. Amarak prescribes, Shelley provides?
Yeah. Gaeta is the guy who's like the computer tech. He's going to put this thing in the slot and show the security cam footage on it. And sure looks like Gaius Baltar entering the defense mainframe facility with a bomb, just as Shelley Godfrey has said.
As panicked as the situation was when the Cylons sprung their attack, it's pretty amazing that they have records of things that happened right before the attack. They're the defense mainframe went down a couple of minutes before the attack started, so we know something went wrong there. And now we have this freeze frame from a security camera that looks like Gaius Baltar dropping off some plastique right there at the defense mainframe.
It's an interesting question. My question for you is this real? Is the disc real? Is any of it real? Later on, that mystery is revealed about whether or not this is Gaius in the video, but is any of this real?
Yeah, I guess we're hearing the thing about the defense mainframe going down from Ms. Godfrey, so...
My point being, Shelley Godfrey, as a version of number 6, could have technology sufficient to create this disc and all the footage on it.
Right. And clip the corners off the disc, too. I mean, she's got technology that we could not possibly understand.
The corners thing is so great. I want to cut back over to Boxey to see, like, his caregiver cutting off the corners of his peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like, I want to see it everywhere. It's great.
So they're like talking about the build and the height and the haircut of the person in the footage who is not facing the camera. And they're like, well, I mean, that looks like Baltar from the back, but, we want to see it from the front. And Gaeta's like, I mean, we can see if we can punch in on that reflection on the glass, but it'll take a day to, run all the processing to enhance the image. And meantime, Adama decides to suspend all of Gaius Baltar's security privileges. He's basically put on the bench.
Sure seems like this is a long time coming. I mean, I don't know how many strikes you get when you're babbling about imaginary people in public.
Yeah. And like when it always smells a little bit like cum when you walk into the room, like bridge access denied just based on that, right?
I mean, doesn't it seem like he's not really the best advocate for his own needs and maybe should be like taken away somewhere and given the help that he needs instead of just permitted to be out in public, potentially hurting someone?
He's too important to the war effort. That's the thing.
Guess so. He's off the project. It doesn't seem like anyone's put on the project instead. I think that's an interesting detail. Like, just going to go ahead and shut that one down for the moment.
Shut it down!
Oh, for God's sake!
Also, another interesting idea is that the Cylon detector project and the Can We Get the Cylon Raider in the Flight Deck project do not cross any sort of labor at all. Like, it seems like they should be working toward the same purpose. They should be related somehow.
There's the talk of like, we need a tissue sample at some point. There's a bunch of tissue.
There it sits.
A lot of it's gloopy and free flowing. Like you wouldn't even need to make an incision to get some of it.
This is Callie and Chief Tyrol working the problem. And I love Callie being outside, kind of reading Starbucks notes and through translation, yelling even at Chief Tyrol and the Cylon Raider. They're just trying to make sense of these notes. Nothing's really working. And as easy as it seemed that Starbuck could wiggle herself into this thing and start like pressing on tendons with her hands and her feet, Tyrol is either unlucky or unskilled in these ways. And this thing is dead. It's not moving.
Yeah, God, I really hope this is the last episode where we see the inside of this thing. I really hate going in there.
Is it getting grosser the longer it sits? Or is it just the contrast between a very clean, even sterile flight deck environment with this thing on it?
Uh-huh.
Like, is that part of what makes it so objectionable to you?
That might be it. Yeah, I mean, I was also just thinking, like, if this thing is, somewhat or entirely a biological robot, like, it's dead in some ways, and so shouldn't it be, like, kind of rotting on the inside?
No one really mentions the smell, but this is a thing that we've talked about for years and years on science fiction.
Yeah.
Give us that one sense for once.
Like, Tyrol should have like a face mask on and should be like dry heaving when he gets out.
Yeah. Where is Starbuck? She's over in Sickbay, taking her first ginger steps out of bed. And Apollo's there to both smash her lady nuts and give her crutches in the process.
Because your pain is my entertainment.
Shut up.
That's fun.
Yeah.
They're having fun together.
Yeah. Coddle is not making with the pain pills. He is doing the tough love thing of kicking the birdie out of the nest to force her to fly.
You're not gonna get better lying on your back.
Oh, frack off.
Famously, you want to blow a bunch of secondhand smoke into the nest to encourage those birds to leave. I got a question for you, Ben.
Yeah.
Is Doc Cottle rich? Because he has an inexhaustible supply of cigarettes, doesn't he?
Maybe he's like an incredibly skilled poker player.
I love that. Yeah. Love that a lot. He's smoking real cigarettes, right?
Fun to do bad things.
I mean, you would think that a doctor could play the man and not the cards, right?
Oh, I bet. Yeah, he's looking at respiration and pulse and all that. He's really taking it in.
Yeah. Baltar blows in a call to the president and finds out he is on the no-fly list. He's stuck on Audrey 2 due to concerns about whether or not he can be trusted at all.
Do you think this is his one phone call, or do you think that even with an unlimited amount of phone calls, he has very few people who he would call?
I mean, it doesn't seem like he's making friends and influencing people at this point.
Yeah, I didn't think he had anyone else to talk to.
Yeah, it's just the prez.
The president is not going to contradict this order. Maybe the biggest reason being the possibly most dangerous man in humanity's remaining number. Like, probably shouldn't be around the president, right?
Yeah, seemed like a good call security-wise. One of the few good calls anybody has made in this ship.
That aspect to it isn't made specific in this call, though.
Yeah. He kind of protests and wants to tell the president about his theory about who Ms. Godfrey may in fact be. He suspects her of being a Cylon, but he gets nothing back. It's what it feels like to do a joke on this show if you're me.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know.
Hard to know if I'm still conscious most of the time after one of your famous bon mots.
She is not conscious. The president has gone tits up, and this is a collapse that seems to have stemmed from taking too much of some pill.
Yeah.
Right?
How fast does Assistant Cousin Greg get a press conference together after this? Incredible how quickly this comes together, almost as if he had predicted it or caused it.
Well, there's sort of an implication that he did cause it later because he apologizes for like blowing in a call to BSG unencrypted to ask for the doctor to be scrambled to Colonial 1. And like other ships picked up that signal and were like doing the math on what it meant, you know?
Do you think Assistant Cousin Greg is a Cylon? Based on what we learn in this scene about him giving her the drugs that she's taken too much of and how disappointed Doc Cottle is that she did that,
right,
etc.
You know,
suspicious.
The show is going to have to be careful about who it reveals is and is not a Cylon because at a certain point, it could just be everybody's a Cylon, so why didn't you just finish the job when you decided to kill all humans in the first place? Like, you should have and probably could have put enough people in enough positions of power to be like, no, stand down, we will not fire back. You know?
The entire series is about how important record keeping is because everyone is a Cylon and they just don't have records of anyone on the Audrey 2 or the remaining fleet.
And the Cylons are a little bit too dumb to realize that they actually did succeed.
That's the next part of the show's introductory theme is like the Cylons rose up and resisted and they have a plan. Some of them don't even know that they're Cylons. Some of the Cylons don't even know that the other Cylons are Cylons.
In retrospect, their plan is bad.
Yeah.
She's catching up with the doctor who's like, oh yeah, he took too many of these pills, and she's going to have to get up on her feet and get in front of the press to put people's minds at ease about her ability to execute the office of the presidency competently, and she doesn't care what the side effects of the injection are going to be that enable her to do that.
All we know is that it goes in the butt.
You wouldn't like the side effects.
Just do it.
What's up with Shelley Godfrey?
Yeah.
I think we got to get over to her and Interesting that Commander Adama has invited her quite early over to his quarters to rap about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks fairly openly about her evidence and what about it could be seen as kind of specious. And that's when she turns on the tears.
Yeah.
She knows this is the secret weapon against any man, right?
Right. When Godfrey hangs tear and talks about how she just misses the touch of a man, can be pretty disarming.
Commander Adama says that he feels alone but not lonely.
Right.
In this scene.
She throws a kiss on him, and I like the sort of S edit where the kiss hasn't even ended, and we're smash cutting to the next scene where he's like, "Follow that woman. I don't trust her at all."
Adama is zipping up, walking out into the corridor.
Do not, under any circumstances, allow Shelley, Godfrey, to leave this ship.
Seduction unsuccessful.
Yeah.
I feel like over the course of our lives, we've seen a lot of movies and TV that show one person kissing another person, and one person's doing the kissing, and the other one is not doing the return kissing.
Right.
That creates a kiss between two people. This is maybe the most unreturned kiss I've ever seen. Like, you know how sometimes, like in Profile, the kisser is doing the lip work, and the kissee can't help but like stick a little lip out there, like meet the lips.
Right.
Adama doesn't even do that.
Yeah, he's like a piece of wood.
Yeah.
Being kissed.
Really great restraint by Adama there.
Yeah.
And as you say, he blows in a phone call to Ty right away. He's like, get some cameras on this one, and I want to know about her past also.
On Cylon-occupied Caprica, we catch up with Hilo and Boomer, who are on the run. It's back to being a hot summer day, almost an American film set partly in Mexico, and they're hiding from Cylons, and Boomer seems to be doing a lot better. She was real beat up last time we saw her, but she doesn't have any open wounds on her face anymore.
Grace Park looks at the river they've got to run through, looks up at the director, and she's like,
I gotta get fucking wet again?
Do you know I have never worn dry boots on this show? Just incredible. The Centurion effect, I think, must be noted. Not great, but also not great. Because I think it's okay that they look real robot-y. They look kind of jerky and weird.
Yeah. I mean, let's just come out and say it. It's remarkable how well they did the CG on number 6. She is imperceptibly human.
Right.
Whereas the robot ones look very CG.
Very true.
Are you kidding me? This whole thing is a bunch of veins and ligaments and sacks of goo.
How's it coming in there?
Back on the Audrey 2, Gaeta takes a break from his work on the Magnify and Enhance project, a project that he and only he has been assigned to, and he's just trying to take a shit. When Gaius Baltar takes the next stall...
How you doing? You're busy. Yes, I know. I don't mean to distract you. Please don't let me interrupt you.
No one wants a conversation like this. There's a lot of foot acting in this scene, too, in a very My Three Sons kind of way that I really liked.
Yeah.
Did you like this?
I liked the My Three Sons foot acting. I kind of wish that Gaeta had noticed that he was out of toilet paper or something so that he had been a little bit more, vulnerable and in Baltar's debt in a weird way. Might have made it too comic,
Their relationship is actually really illuminated in this scene. I was surprised that Gaeta didn't just tell him to get out of the fucking bathroom or at least use another stall over. Stop being weird.
Yeah.
But there's a clear appreciation that he has for Gaius Baltar, and it's what makes a scene like this possible, and not as weird as it should be, because Baltar's in there to be like, hey, what's up with the photo project? Because I'm kind of freaked out. I mean, obviously that's not me there. You know that and I know that. But like, what if it's not? That would be weird. And in Gaius Baltar's defense, his idea that Shelley Godfrey is a Cylon supports his photo being in the thing.
Right. And being fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's constructing an architecture that throws this entire thing in doubt. And this seems to be something that Gaeta could ride for, possibly.
Yeah. It gets really intense when the cameras go up from where we're just looking at feet, and we start to realize that even in the future there are huge gaps between the door and the wall in toilets. And
yeah,
this is especially unnerving in a what seems to be a all gender bathroom.
I mean, it really feels like an airport bathroom with how trafficked it is.
Yeah.
And so forth.
They also had, like, there's that moment where Gaeta leaves and Baltar says the thing about you forgot to wash your hands, but they're those prison toilets that have the sink in the cistern part where you could wash. He could have washed his hands right then and there, for all we know.
Can't be sure. I mean, we don't see a wipe of the hands on the pants, which I think would be the confirmation we would need for that kind of suspicion.
Well, if Baltar gets really sick next episode after all the contact he made with Gaeta's keyboard in a later scene, we'll know why.
Shelley Godfrey uses the bathroom wisely, not right next to an occupied stall. She's got the good sense to go across the room like a normal person. Except her big mistake is not locking the stall door, because Gaius is able to open it and starts winging pretty intense accusations at her about being a Cylon, and not only being a Cylon, but being familiar to him in the way that number 6 would be. And she is not breaking character at all. Very confusing.
Yeah, it's almost like she doesn't know what she is. But we cut down to the launch bay where Boomer finds Tyrol taking a break from spelunking in the goo. This is a weird scene to me because she kind of like walks up to him like, hey, got a minute? And then instead of having anything in particular she wanted to say to the guy who's just broken up with her, just spend some time kind of like caressing the raider and getting real weird and horny about it. And then just like kind of walks away.
She's fucking with him, right?
Or is she like somewhat in the thrall of it, maybe?
Sure. I really love her very unusual guesses about this thing and how it works.
Yeah.
And how it's more animal than human or Cylon. Like, it's a tweener, kind of. And the way she describes it. But yeah, the way she draws her hands across its smoothness. I mean, I was half expecting it to move, Ben. It did not move in this scene.
No, didn't move. Over in 6 Bay, Colonel Tag comes and kind of tries to harass Starbuck out of bed.
Clearly, you still need the rest. Take your time. No rush.
Do you actually think that reverse psychology crap is going to work on me?
She's not fooled by any of it, but also is enough in the jocular contest of wills with him that he can kind of provoke her, even despite her better judgment. Kind of a nice scene.
We learn in this episode that Gaius can, by choice, close his eyes and go to the Mind Lake house. And he does this a few times this episode, including here. And when he's going in this scene, he's intentionally searching for number 6, a number 6 who is not there. It's an empty house.
Yeah. Where'd she go?
Yeah. Could he use a tissue sample from Shelley Godfrey in order to test his Cylon testing machine?
He sure could.
Seems like that could be likely. And Commander Adama kind of doubles down on Gaius and his relationship to the project. We're going to see what's up in this picture. And if that's you in the picture, no one's going to give a shit about you or the project you're working on or anything.
This really knocks Baltar off his equilibrium, and there's a pretty fun sequence where he's like walking down the hallway and everybody's kind of leering at him. Like he's made this case of I've been convicted in the court of public opinion unfairly, but it's also kind of unclear how much of this is just him perceiving everybody as looking at him.
Yeah.
Anyways, he kind of wanders near the med lab where Gaeta is working, and Gaeta's getting his result of a image that shows Baltar's face reflected in the glass in the security camera footage. And it is heavily implied that Baltar pulls the fire alarm, which pulls the Marines guarding the med lab off the door, and Gaeta runs to the Combat Information Center, and Baltar sneaks into the lab, and we get a full, like, the files are inside the computer Zoolander moment with Baltar trying to disable this machine.
We've got a lot of FODs in some pretty sensitive areas of our government and military apparatus. That's what I'm going to say generally. This scene made me wonder, if a fire alarm is pulled while you are keeping watch over a sensitive place or a sensitive person or a high value anything, do you have to go down with the fire? Like, are you instructed, ignore fire alarm, for example, in a situation like this?
Great question. I don't know.
I hope one of our highly placed contacts lets us know.
Send the information in a USB key that's like hidden inside a challenge coin.
Oh, my challenge coin's going off right now. Oh, shit.
It sprouted legs and started skittering across the desk.
Yeah.
I keep mine locked in a drawer.
I love how we graduate from object to object in Gaius Baltar's mind. We're going from pliers, we're going to wrenches, we're going to just mashing the keyboard with your hands, we're going to ripping out wires, and finally, wheelie stool. Wheelie stool is about to be the thing, but Adama walks in right at that moment.
Caught chair-handed.
We get a version of Adama that I want to call attention to here. I want to start keeping track of. Pursed lips Adama. You know the look, right? When something happens in a scene and he's like, you don't need teeth to eat a sandwich when your lips purse that tightly. That's embouchure, baby.
He looks like a kid who's like self-conscious about their teeth, trying to smile for their school picture.
I was that kid for a bit. Yeah. I had one of these. I need to make a much harder part in my hair and then do that. That's it.
There we go. Starbuck visits her new girlfriend. She's finally out of bed. Seems like Colonel Tig's harassment kind of worked.
Doesn't it seem it was about her vanity more than anything else? Because when she walks out on those crutches, she's like, no one say shit.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't that she was unwell or unprepared. It was like she didn't want to be seen like that, as weakened.
Yeah. And she isn't. Like, she's still got the magic touch with this raider.
Yeah.
Sort of seemed like it was just something that her foot needed to be pushing against also, and like Tyrol wasn't doing that part.
Almost as if the inside of the thing was molded on her.
Oh, it was made for her birdie.
So when she fits right into it, things just go right into place, huh?
If the Cylon Raider fits, you must acquit. I should have thought of an end to that joke, but I didn't.
You know what? I often enjoy the premises more than the punchlines.
Oh, hey, thanks. Hey.
From the comics that I enjoy, so that was good enough for me.
Come on, boy. Giddy up.
How about Starbuck starting the engine of this thing? An alien ship on board Audrey 2. And Chief Tyrol can be pretty flip about like, hey, just don't shoot the cannons or whatever, right?
And they're all kind of like standing there inside the horseshoe.
I mean, he's joking, but not joking, right?
Yeah. I really wanted to see the PAs off camera pulling the ropes to make the ship move.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty not cool is what's happening in the brig, where President Roslin is visiting Gaius Baltar. And why is she apologizing? And why is she getting down on one knee?
And why is the carpet all wet, Todd?
I don't know, Margot.
She's doing it because that is a position from which she wants to see why he did it. She's already made up her mind. And as much as he protests and says that Shelley Godfrey is a Cylon, her case, in her mind, is adjudicated using your own paranoia, right?
Right.
Like, if the danger is everyone's a Cylon, you got to go with your gut. And when she was first thinking about the idea of Gaius Baltar being in this photo, this is not something that's hard for her to believe at all.
Yeah, she's not felt super great about him, and now she's resolved that the accusation that Ms. Godfrey leveled against him is true.
She didn't need to be so wordy, right? She could have been like, you know how you are, right?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, he's very, like, indignant about it. He's like, forgive me if I don't want to be executed for treason because your gut tells you to, which is a great point. But also, like, what are we meant to think he believes at this point? Because he's been told that he was tricked into giving the Cylons access to the defense mainframe.
Uh-huh.
And that he's, like, trying to cover that up so that he can enjoy a life of privilege in this, like, desperate time that all led to. But, like, it sort of seems like he doesn't even trust himself at that point. And, like, everything the president's saying is, like, patently ridiculous when why would anybody have trusted him the entire time? Like, he's like he was out of his mind from episode 1.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it just seems like this is her way to arrive at a resolution for the whole thing, to just end it right here. And all Gaius can do is keep ringing the bell of Shelley Godfrey as a Cylon. That's all he's got as a defense.
Yeah. Back on Caprica, Hilo and Boomer hunker down for the night, and Hilo drops the first bomb that's been dropped on Caprica in a while. I knew about you and Chief Tyrol. And this does not end the way he thinks it will. He thinks that this is going to be the will they, won't they between him and Boomer, ending in a polite step back, but instead it's a shut up and kiss me. They start to get it on as we cross-cut to the Audrey tube where the other Boomer opens her locker in the pilot locker room and finds that she has been anonymously accused of being a Cylon herself.
Yeah, this crosscut's really interesting, right? Between Audrey 2 Boomer and Caprica Boomer. It appears that when the Cylon Boomer climaxes, they get kind of a spinal light show.
Yeah.
A reddish glow.
We saw this happen with 6 also.
There's no faking that, Ben, and probably no hitting it from the back.
Right, yeah.
If you want to be a human Cylon that wants to hide their identity, right?
Kind of an interesting piece of information for Baltar's Cylon detector project, though. Like, if you can get them to nut, you can tell if someone is a Cylon.
And that also means that you know Hilo isn't a Cylon because his balls are blue.
I thought that was a myth. Turns out.
Back on Audrey 2, Gaius Baltar, seeking the approval of someone he needs to ascend to power, performatively prays to a god he doesn't believe in so that he can continue walking the ship unpunished. And finally, number 6 appears. After a sufficient amount of prayer, she is sure comforting in his time of need.
Yeah. I hadn't really, like, processed this yet, which is embarrassing, but it hadn't really struck me until it was in close proximity to the scene where the president says, "May the gods have mercy on your soul."
Yeah.
That the Cylons are monotheists and the humans are polytheists.
Yeah, that's their main gripe, I think.
It's a sectarian conflict, ultimately.
Yeah.
The slavery thing was kind of a secondary complaint, but...
Sure. Once you get God/gods involved, that rises to the top.
Yeah, so it sort of seems like he's had a conversion experience in jail. Call him Gaius X from now on.
Do you think he's really converted? Or do you think this is the atheists and brig holes situation?
I kind of interpreted it as him praying and feeling like his prayers were answered, especially based on the later scene. But yeah, Gaeta shows up with some great news.
It's almost seamless, but
it's a fake.
He's got the unmodified printouts to prove it.
Gaeta's attitude here was such a mystery to me. He kind of admits to a whoopsie doodle on his part. Like, yeah, really should have confirmed it after the photo resolved completely. Kind of a premature throwing of you into the brig, really. This raises the question, Ben, where the hell is Shelley Godfrey at this point? In the CIC, Adama and Ty argue that very question. And the trouble is, no one knows where she is. She's not on board the Audrey 2. No one else in the fleet has got eyes on her. But wait, are those her glasses?
Whoa.
This is like a Santa Claus movie where like the kids aren't sure if they believe in Santa, but there's like cookie crumbs near the chimney.
Whoa.
He is real. And that's the bike I wanted.
Sex Santa Claus is real.
Yeah.
She was here. She was right here.
We cut over to Colonial 1. Assistant Cousin Greg, a lot of press conference work lately, putting these things together.
Mm-hmm. Are the press just like always there on Colonial 1?
Seems that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The president stands in front of the podium and restores Gaius Baltar to his position of privilege with all rights and responsibilities thereto pertaining.
You can speak to us normally.
It's a real moment of triumph for him, not just because of this, but also because Six is going to fuck him in the lake house.
Let's talk about this press conference for a moment. This can't be what President Roslin really believes, right? It must be said and said publicly because the evidence exonerates Gaius Baltar. But like when you look at Gaius Baltar's face and you look at President Roslin's face, there is performance on both sides here, right?
Right. Like if like Anthony Fauci was constantly like standing off to the side in press conferences going like, oh, I just nutted in my pants. You know, the conspiracy theories would have a lot more weight to them.
It just seems like Mary McDonnell is such a skilled face actor that there might be acting like you're acting like something else happening here. And it was an uncomfortable scene. It's uncomfortable to watch because you know the truth during, and you just hope that a person needed to save the human race is not falling for it, you know?
Yeah.
So things have gotten a lot better in Gaius Baltar's vacation mind house. He's super pleased with the circumstances. Who was that Shelley Godfrey, though? A question that he has, just like everyone else. Kind of hard to concentrate on the answer to that question when all of your blood is flowing outside of your brain. And there is a Cylon upstairs waiting for her back to get turned red. And I'm here waiting to hear whether or not you like this episode, Ben.
So say we all. So say we all.
There's a lot I like about this episode, but I remember when I attempted to watch this series on DVD all the way back in the day.
The way the Canadians must, as we speak right now, unfortunately, unable to stream this great show.
I remember getting really sick and tired of the Dr. Baltar crap, and I feel like this might have been the hump at which I was just like, I can't do it with this guy anymore. And I think it is that, like, the show and the character seem to have come unmoored from what the central moral question about him is. And it's now like, does he believe in God or gods or nothing? Does he even think he betrayed all of humanity at this point? Like, did he put a bomb and not remember, or did he not? Is he a Cylon and like a different one of him put the bomb?
That's a fascinating angle. What if Gaius Baltar just believes in a wrathful God and has transposed our idea of that onto the Cylons.
Yeah.
In this moment. Like, what if this is a conversion experience for him? Was that not something that you considered during your first watch, and that was a reason to get off?
I don't remember how seriously I was thinking about it during my first watch, and I don't remember if that was like where I got off even. I just, like, I have been very surprised by how little of the series I remember, honestly. Like, watching through these episodes, they are playing as new for me, other than the vibes of just being kind of tired of this character and the musical theme that plays every time he's imagining somebody in the room with him, and the fact that people just seem to tolerate it, despite how like overtly ridiculous it is. So I guess on balance, this one's not my fave, but there's a lot of fun and interesting stuff in it. How about you?
I like that you articulated an essential problem with Gaius Baltar as being a reason that maybe a person can't get on this show's level. I think for me, that character was Gaeta. I couldn't quite get on the level of everyone else on the ship is suspicious of Gaius Baltar. We know why they should be. We know this guy's crazy, except for one lieutenant. That's weird. You want to like him. You want to think that the people who work for Adama are good if they're not Cylon. I don't know. I kind of like keeping Baltar out on an island.
Right.
And I think it makes him especially dangerous to have put him through what Number 6 and he both agree to be kind of a test that works in his favor in the court of public opinion. The redemption arc has begun for him, and I think that makes his character very dangerous.
Yeah. Well, do you want to see if there's anything dangerous in the Priority 1 inbox?
There's always something in there that isn't quite what it seems. Right, Ben?
It's true.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Ben, we got a Priority 1 message here from Beth, and it is to Ben and not Adam. I guess I can just turn my brain off when I read this. Hi, Ben. I also have no wisdom teeth and a missing molar. Sorry, Adam. You all teeth types just can't understand. I know molars are the bookends of the mouth, but what my theory presupposes is molars are overrated?
Yeah!
Not really. My teeth are all wonky too. Thanks for all the pods and the laughs, and I hope to see both of you live at a show in 2025.
Thank you, Beth. Hope to see you at a show in 2025 as well. Yeah, we've been getting a lot of results from the polls we put up about #DatGap. And
I was shocked by the results of this.
Yeah.
If you're still in line to vote on whether or not Ben keeps his front tooth gap, stay in line.
Yeah, and also do not offer a bottle of water to anybody waiting in line. That's illegal.
I think this is a stolen vote. I don't believe the results of this at all.
Well, needless to say, some veto power may have been invoked in my life over what gets done.
Wow.
So you'll have to check out the newsletter to get the results, I think.
What a tease.
Yeah. Our next P1 is from Sam from DC. Hey, it's Sam.
Love Sam.
It's to Ben and Adam. Goes like this. Hoping to see you all when Brad, Jason, and I come to visit LA.
Shut it down!
Let's eat some nudes.
Shut it down!
Have some tiki drinks.
Shut it down!
Meet some pups.
Shut it down!
Go to a rundown pool that turns into a Chapel Roan dance party with sexy people when it's filled.
Shut it down!
Thank you, and Wynde, for all the great pod. Wow.
Sam's one of the best FODs. Love that guy.
We're not going to be shutting anything down. When Sam comes to town, we're going to be turning up instead.
Hey, look at us with out-of-town friends.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I just let it slip. Amazing.
Your wife's going to be so mad that you just blabbed on the podcast about it.
I know. I just got excited.
Oh boy, looking forward to that, Sam from DC. Thanks for a very nice P1 message. If you'd like to get a P1 message, whether it's about your own personal dental situation or vacation you're planning on taking, head to MaximumFun.org/Jumbotron and set yours up today.
Hey, Ben.
What's that, Adam?
Did you discover yourself an Edward Larkin?
Edward Larkin! I'm going to give it to T-Roll for like being covered in goo and then sort of getting fucked with by his ex-girlfriend that he's clearly not over.
Yeah.
Like real insult to injury moment there for him.
I mean, the ship didn't move, but Tyrrell moved, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, it's so harsh that it seems like she is hotter for the ship than she is for him in this moment.
Yeah. Yeah, really something else.
How about you?
I'm going to make mine Coddle. Coddle only gets 2 very brief scenes in this episode and is just absolutely tearing down the scenery around him for both. Hard to believe how efficient one character can be in that.
True.
But in this episode, he definitely was, so he's going to be my Larkin for that.
Fair enough.
Also, I want to know if he's rich. A lot of cigarettes.
Yeah. You know, I don't know why I kept thinking this, but every time I spotted him with a smoke, I was wishing it was one of those ones from The Fifth Element where the ratio of filter to cigarette is reversed.
Yeah, yeah. That's fun.
I feel like that's like the trimmed off corners of cigarettes.
Do you think the cigarettes aren't round, but instead...
you look at it down the barrel, it's actually an octagon or whatever.
Please let that be the case. Drinking straws?
Yeah.
What other things?
Dicks.
Definitely dicks. Speaking of dicks, Ben, why don't you tell us how hard the next episode is on Hot Cylon Summer?
Okay, if you insist. The next episode is Season 1, Episode 8, Flesh and Bone. A Cylon who calls himself Leoben is discovered on one of the ships in the fleet. Commander Adama sends Kara to interrogate him, or rather, it. The Cylon tells Kara that he planted a nuclear device on one of the ships. Although she doesn't believe it, Kara passes on the warning.
I mean, we've met a Leoben Kanoi before.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a shifty character.
Mm-hmm.
But can you trust him?
Yeah, we'll find out. This is kind of like the classic release 3 pigs into the school marked 1, 2, and 4 as a senior prank. Like one of these ships might have a nuke on it.
There's so many Leos in the world as children's names. I wonder if Leoben is going to be a newly famous kid's name. I like that. I like that for you specifically. What do you think about trying on Leoben a little while?
I'll give it a try. I don't know if it'll stick. Well, looking forward to that one. Also looking forward to hearing if we have a warning bois today, Adam.
I would be shocked if we didn't. Just as shocked as I was that we would be doing this segment. Ben, warning bois are one of the great ways to get the word out about our show, and getting the word out about our show is important.
Prepare a buoy and launch it when ready.
Warning buoys.
An emergency buoy. A warning buoy.
Here's a review written over on the Apple Podcasts app, one of the best places to review us. It's a 5-star review.
Ooh.
It's from Cliff. Headline warning, one of my favorite podcasts. Along with Greatest Generation, this is a podcast that I cannot live without, and am too embarrassed to tell people I am a viewer. Seriously love the show, Ben and Adam. So excited to cover shows like BSG and Pilot Season, maybe an X-Files at some future date.
Ooh.
If there are off-seasons in new Star Trek, so too will there be off-seasons for Greatest Trek.
Yeah.
Seasons like Hot Cylon Summer.
Love me some X-Files. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got into that at some point.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks for the warning, bois, Cliff. And thanks to everyone out there who's done a review of the show. As we've said before, if you don't know what to say, talk about your favorite episode of the show. That's something to say, and that's a great way to get someone on board.
Sure is. Well, thanks to everyone who leaves a nice review or puts the word out on social media about the shows. And with that, we are going to throw the keys to this episode over to our intrepid producer, Wynde Priddy. Take it from here, Wynde.
Greatest Trek is an Uxbridge Shimoda podcast on the Maximum Fun Network. It's hosted by Leo Ben Harrison and Adam Pranica, and it's produced and edited by Wynde Priddy. Next week on Hot Cylon Summer, it's episode 8, Flesh and Bone. Special thanks to the Max Fun members who support this show on a monthly basis. It's audience supported, so members really make it possible. When you set up a membership, you get instant access to a ton of great bonus content, and you can do that at MaximumFun.org/join. We appreciate it. You can also support for free by subscribing to the Greatest Trek YouTube channel or by leaving a 5-star rating and review on your podcatcher. You can also just recommend us to someone that you know. We appreciate all of those things. Thanks to Nick Ditmore, who created the show art, and Adam Ragusia, who composed the theme music. Thanks to Bill Tilley and Rob Adler for all their work on the social media pages. You can find those at Greatest Trek. And be sure to use the hashtag Greatest Trek when you post about the show online. There's also a monthly Greatest newsletter that you can sign up for at gach.biz/mail. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week on Greatest Trek.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows
supported directly
by you.